Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Right, we can go ahead and get started, inshallah. Today we'll be covering the third juz, so we'll be beginning ayah 253 of Surah Baqarah. And we'll go, inshallah, until about half, which will be about to ayah 15, inshallah. So we'll go ahead and get started. We'll do our short reflection and tafsir shortly afterwards, and we'll also announce some of the prizes for the kids that were answering some of the questions for yesterday's questions, inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم تلك الرسل فضلنا بعضهم على بعض منهم من كلم الله ورفع بعضهم درجات وآتينا عيسى ابن مريم البينات وأيدناه بروح القدس ولو شاء الله ما اقتتل الذين من بعدهم من بعد ما جاءتهم البينات ولكن اختلفوا فمنهم من آمن ومنهم من كفر ولو شاء الله ما اقتتلوا ولكن الله يفعل ما يريد يا أيها الذين آمنوا أنفقوا مما رزقناكم من قبل أن يأتي يوم لا بيع فيه ولا خلة ولا شفاعة والكافرون هم الظالمون الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يؤوده حفظهما وهو العلي العظيم لا إكراه في الدين قد تبين الرشد من الغي فمن يكفر بالطاغوت يؤمن بالله فقد استمسك بالعروة الوثقى لا انفصام لها والله سميع عليم الله ولي الذين آمنوا يخرجهم من الظلمات إلى النور والذين كفروا أولياءهم الطاغوت يخرجونهم من النور إلى الظلمات أولئك أصحاب النار هم فيها خالدون ألم تر إلى الذي حاج إبراهيم في ربه أن آتاه الله الملك إذ قال إبراهيم ربي الذي يحيي ويميت قال أنا أحيي وأميت قال إبراهيم فإن الله يأتي بالشمس من المشرق فأت بها من المغرب فبهت الذي كفر والله لا يهدي القوم الظالمين أو كالذي مر على قرية وهي خاوية على عروشها قال أنى يحيي هذه الله بعد موتها فأماته الله 100 عام ثم بعثه قال كم لبثت قال لبثت يوما أو بعض يوم قال بل لبثت 100 عام فانظر إلى طعامك قال بل لبثت 100 عام فانظر إلى طعامك وشرابك لم يتسنه وانظر إلى حمارك ولنجعلك آية للناس وانظر إلى العظام كيف ننشزها ثم نكسوها لحما فلما تبين له قال أعلم أن الله على كل شيء قدير وإذ قال إبراهيم رب أرني كيف تحيي الموتى قال أولم تؤمن قال بلى ولكن ليطمئن قلبي قال فخذ 4 من الطير فسرهن إليك ثم اجعل على كل جبل منهن جزءا ثم ادعهن يأتينك سعيا واعلم أن الله عزيز حكيم مثل الذين ينفقون أموالهم في سبيل الله كمثل حبة أنبتت 7 سنابل في كل سنبلة 100 حبة والله يضاعف لمن يشاء والله واسع عليم الذين ينفقون أموالهم في سبيل الله ثم لا يتبعون ما أنفقوا منا ولا أذى لهم أجرهم عند ربهم ولا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون قول معروف ومغفرة خير من صدقة يتبعها أذى والله غني حليم يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تبطلوا صدقاتكم بالمن والأذى كالذي ينفق ماله رئاء الناس وما يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر فمثله كمثل صفوان عليه تراب فأصابه وابل فتركه صلدا لا يقدرون على شيء مما كسبوا والله لا يهدي القوم الكافرين ومثل الذين ينفقون أموالهم ابتغاء مرضات الله وتثبيتا من أنفسهم كمثل جنة بربوة أصابها وابل فآتت أكلها ضعفين فإن لم يصبها وابل فطل والله بما تعملون بصير أيود أحدكم أن تكون له جنة من نخيل وأعناب تجري من تحتها الأنهار له فيها من كل الثمرات وأصابه الكبر وله ذرية ضعفاء فأصابها إعصار فيه نار فاحترقت كذلك يبين الله لكم الآيات لعلكم تتفكرون يا أيها الذين آمنوا أنفقوا من طيبات ما كسبتم ومما أخرجنا لكم من الأرض ولا تيمموا الخبيث منه تنفقون ولستم بآخذيه إلا أن تغمضوا فيه واعلموا أن الله غني حميد الشيطان يعدكم الفقر والله يعدكم مغفرة منه وفضلا والله واسع عليم يؤتي الحكمة من يشاء ومن يؤت الحكمة فقد أوتي خيرا كثيرا وما يذكر إلا أولو الألباب وما أنفقتم من نفقة أو نذرتم من نذر فإن الله يعلمه وما للظالمين من أنصار إن تبدوا الصدقات فنعما هي وإن تخفوها وتؤتوها الفقراء فهو خير لكم ويكفر عنكم من سيئاتكم والله بما تعملون خبير ليس عليك هداهم ولكن الله يهدي من يشاء وما تنفقوا من خير فلأنفسكم وما تنفقون إلا ابتغاء وجه الله وما تنفقوا من خير يوفى إليكم وأنتم لا تظلمون للفقراء الذين أحصروا في سبيل الله لا يستطيعون ضربا في الأرض يحسبهم الجاهل أغنياء من التعفف تعرفهم بسيماهم لا يسألون الناس إلحافا وما تنفقوا من خير فإن الله به عليم الذين ينفقون أموالهم رئاء بالليل والنهار سرا وعلانية فلهم أجرهم عند ربهم ولا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون الذين يأكلون الربا لا يقومون إلا كما يقوم الذي يتخبطه الشيطان من المس ذلك بأنهم قالوا إنما البيع مثل الربا وأحل الله البيع وحرم الربا فمن جاءه موعظة من ربه فانتهى فله ما سلف وأمره إلى الله ومن عاد فأولئك أصحاب النار هم فيها خالدون يمحق الله الربا ويربي الصدقات والله لا يحب كل كفار أثيم إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وأقاموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة لهم أجرهم عند ربهم ولا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وذروا ما بقي من الربا إن كنتم مؤمنين فإن لم تفعلوا فأذنوا بحرب من الله ورسوله وإن تبتم فلكم رؤوس أموالكم لا تظلمون ولا تظلمون وإن كان ذو عسرة فنظرة إلى ميسرة وأن تصدقوا خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون واتقوا يوما ترجعون فيه إلى الله ثم توفى كل نفس ما كسبت وهم لا يظلمون يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا تداينتم بدين إلى أجل مسمى فاكتبوه وليكتب بينكم كاتب بالعدل ولا يأب كاتب أن يكتب كما علمه الله فليكتب وليملل الذي عليه الحق وليتق الله ربه ولا يبخس منه شيئا فإن كان الذي عليه الحق سفيها أو ضعيفا أو لا يستطيع أن يمل هو فليملل وليه بالعدل واستشهدوا شهدين من رجالكم فإن لم يكونا رجلين فرجل وامرأتان ممن ترضون من الشهداء أن تضل إحداهما فتذكر إحداهما الأخرى ولا يأبى الشهداء إذا ما دعوا ولا تسأموا أن تكتبوه صغيرا أو كبيرا إلى أجله ذلكم أقسط عند الله وأقوم للشهادة وأدنى ألا ترتابوا إلا أن تكون تجارة حاضرة تديرونها بينكم فليس عليكم جناح ألا تكتبوها وأشهدوا إذا تبايعتم ولا يضار كاتب ولا شهيد وإن تفعلوا فإنه فسوق بكم واتقوا الله ويعلمكم الله والله بكل شيء عليم وإن كنتم على سفر ولم تجدوا كاتبا فرهان مقبوضة فإن أمن بعضكم بعضا فليؤدي الذي اؤتمن أمانته وليتق الله ربه ولا تكتموا الشهادة ومن يكتمها فإنه آثم قلبه والله بما تعملون عليم لله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض وإن تبدوا ما في أنفسكم أو تخفوه يحاسبكم به الله فيغفر لمن يشاء ويعذب من يشاء والله على كل شيء قدير آمن الرسول بما أنزل إليه من ربه والمؤمنون كل آمن بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله لا نفرق بين أحد من رسله وقالوا سمعنا وأطعنا غفرانك ربنا وإليك المصير لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها لها ما كسبت وعليها ما اكتسبت ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألف لام ميم الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم نزل عليك الكتاب بالحق مصدقا لما بين يديه وأنزل التوراة والإنجيل من قبل هدى للناس وأنزل الفرقان
إن الذين كفروا بآيات الله لهم عذاب شديد والله عزيز ذو انتقام. إن الله لا يخفى عليه شيء في الأرض ولا في السماء هو الذي يصوركم في الأرحام كيف يشاء لا إله إلا هو العزيز الحكيم. هو الذي أنزل عليك الكتاب منه آيات محكمات هن أم الكتاب وأخر متشابهات فأما الذين في قلوبهم زيغ فيتبعون ما تشابه منه ابتغاء الفتنة وابتغاء تأويله وما يعلم تأويله إلا الله والراسخون في العلم يقولون آمنا به كل من عند ربنا وما يذكر إلا أولو الألباب. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. ربنا إنك جامع الناس ليوم لا ريب فيه إن الله لا يخلف الميعاد. إن الذين كفروا لا تغني عنهم أموالهم ولا أولادهم من الله شيئا وأولئك هم وقود النار. كدأب آل فرعون والذين من قبلهم كذبوا بآياتنا فأخذهم الله بذنوبهم والله شديد العقاب. قل للذين كفروا ستغلبون وتحشرون إلى جهنم وبئس المهاد. قد كان لكم آية في فئتين التقتا فئة تقاتل في سبيل الله وأخرى كافرة يرونهم مثليهم رأي العين والله يؤيد بنصره من يشاء إن في ذلك لعبرة لأولي الأبصار. زين للناس حب الشهوات من النساء والبنين والقناطير المقنطرة من الذهب والفضة والخيل المسومة والأنعام والحرث ذلك متاع الحياة الدنيا والله عنده حسن المآب. قل أنبئكم بخير من ذلكم للذين اتقوا عند ربهم جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار خالدين فيها وأزواج مطهرة ورضوان من الله والله بصير بالعباد. صدق الله العظيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسول الكريم أما بعد. So inshallah today what we just read was the first half of the third juz, and we finished Surah Al-Baqarah and we began Surah Al-Imran. And these two surahs have particularly profound importance, particularly the third juz. When you think about the first page in the third juz, right? We all get very excited when we find those ayahs that we find familiar, right? When we see Ayatul Kursi there. And the two names that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala defines himself by. And those two names are Al-Hayy and Al-Qayyum. And in a hadith, the Prophet ﷺ, he told us that these two surahs particularly, that if a mu'min or if a Muslim connects themselves to these two surahs, that these two surahs will be a shade for a person on the Day of Judgment. And in some narrations, that shade is described as a large cloud, that will provide people shade on the day of judgment, on a day in which there will be no shade, or it will be like a flock of birds providing shade for people. And the hadith continues, I believe, and it says that these two surahs, that the person who commits them to memory, that these two surahs in particular will fight for a Muslim on the day of judgment, fight for a person on the day of judgment on their behalf. It will intercede on their behalf, saying that these two people, this person is someone who committed the Quran or these two surahs particularly to memory, and that it will intercede on their behalf on the day of judgment. And when we look at Ayatul Kursi, right, there are a lot of verses here in the third juz that we are told have particular importance. Ayatul Kursi is one of them, right? One of the greatest verses in the Quran. We also have at the end of Surah Al-Baqarah, we have the last 2 or 3 verses, Amana Rasulu bima unzila ilayhi rabbil mu'minun, and the rest of the page that continues. And when you look at the way that these verses are ordered, what we talked about on the first day, right, was that the Quran opens not with a story or with any type of ruling or any type of declaration, but rather it opens with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala teaching us how to approach Him and how to make dua. Right? It begins with a dua for guidance. And then when we continue, what we're praying for is a dua for guidance and to not be led astray. And the beauty in Surah Al-Baqarah is that it continues, and at the end of the surah then ends with asking for an affirmation in that belief, right? To not burden us with anything more than our physical bodies are capable of bearing, and asking us for forgiveness, asking for mercy, asking for rahmah. And then when we continue into Surah Al-Imran, the first page then asks for the internal, Rabbana la tuzigh qulubana, that after we just prayed for guidance in Surah Fatiha, at the end of Surah Baqarah, we asked for not being tested or not being burdened with more that we can handle. And Surah Al-Imran then continues with that dua as an answer to Surah Al-Fatiha, saying that after you have guided us, after you have accepted our dua, do not let us be led astray. So these themes are continuing throughout these 3 surahs. 3 surahs, correct. Particularly what I want to focus on a little bit is when we talk about, this first dua in Surah Al-Imran, Rabbana la tuzigh qulubana ba'da idh hadaytana, that Ya Allah, do not allow our hearts to be led astray after you have guided us. وَهَبْ لَنَا مِن لَدُنْكَ رَحْمَةً إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ الْوَهَّابُ. And Aisha radiallahu anha, she narrates to us that this dua brings forward a lot of the themes of the most profound du'as that the Prophet ﷺ himself made, that he prayed far less for the external or the physical, but nearly all of his du'as were all encompassing for du'as for the heart, for his own heart, right? This is somebody who carried the weight of revelation, who brought guidance, who brought hidayah, who was in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself, but yet this was the same person who was asking for istighfar countless times a day. And this is the same person who Aisha radiallahu anha narrates that the most frequently made dua that he made in their household was Ya muqallib al-qulub, thabbit qalbi ala dinik. Right? Ya Allah, you are the guider of hearts, and so guide my heart. And this is the same, very similar dua, right, that we see, that we're praying for protection and guidance of the heart, because it is very easy, even for people after they have found guidance, to slip or to be led away from it. And so we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for protection from that. The last few things that we can, share today, I think particularly when I was going through this juz, two things, right? So I think the first is for Ayatul Kursi. When we read Ayatul Kursi, it's something that we're taught at a very young age, but it's an ayah that we're taught has a lot of magnificence, right? The way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes it as the mightiest ayah in the Quran. And when you look at the way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's describing Himself, right? That when of all the names that He chooses to describe Himself by, He uses Al-Hayy and Al-Qayyum, the one who gives life and the one who gives death, but He also says La ta'khudhuhu sinatun wa la nawm. This is particularly interesting because you would think that when a king is describing himself, or when someone is describing their might or their awe or their power, of all the words that you have to choose in those descriptions, why would you choose to highlight the fact that you don't sleep, right? That لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم. And the reality is that every single thing that is in creation, every single thing that has been created, no matter its might, right? No matter, any king, any animal, right? Even that has physical prowess, even the jinn that have the mightiest of physical capabilities. You can be as intellectually powerful, as physically powerful, as mentally powerful as you want, but at the end of the day, you're still limited by the capabilities of your own body, right? And at the end of the day, despite all of that, at the end of the day, you still need to sleep. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is highlighting here is that he is not limited in any capacity, in any shape or form by the physical restrictions that creation that he has created is limited by. And so he's highlighting for us his greatness and the fact that there is no threshold, that there is no limit to his greatness. And the beauty is when we actually continue to read throughout this juz', there's a story that I particularly find fascinating because it's something that we're not too aware of or too familiar. But when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes himself as somebody who gives life and who gives death, and as somebody who doesn't sleep, in the page immediately following it, he says, أو كالذي مر على قرية وهي خاوية على عروشها. That in that whole ayah, he describes the story of what some ulama or refer to as another prophet, alayhi salatu wasalam, that his name was Uzair, alayhi salam. And this was someone who was known to be a prophet or a saint, and he had a daily routine of leaving his farm or leaving his household and going out to collect, his food for the day, I believe, which consisted of, grapes, figs, and whatever he had to drink for the day. And in this ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is continuing on this theme. He says, أَوْ كَالَّذِي مَرَّ عَلَى قَرْيَةٍ وَهِيَ خَاوِيَةٌ عَلَى عُرُوشِهَا قَالَ أَنَّ يُحْيِي هَذِهِ اللَّهُ بَعْدَ مَوْتِهَا. That this man, this prophet, alayhi salam, is walking and leaving his home. And as he's leaving his home, he comes upon a city that is completely desolate, completely barren. And I believe in some narrations, they say that he can see the remains of the people that were there prior, right? And he looks and in curiosity or in marveling, not out of doubt, he questions, he sits to himself and he asks, قَالَ أَنَّ يُحْيِي هَذِهِ اللَّهُ بَعْدَ مَوْتِهَا. That who can bring life to this? How can Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring back life to this completely barren or desolate place? And again, he wasn't saying this out of doubt. He was in such awe that something could be something that had so much life at one point could be completely demolished. And so he was asking, how can Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring back life to this? فَأَمَاتَهُ اللَّهُ بِيَةَ عَامٍ ثُمَّ بَعَثَهُ. And so the ayah continues and it describes what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just highlighted for us in Ayatul Kursi. And it says that Uzair alayhi salam, he had in his possession the food that he went out to get for that day, and he had his donkey with him. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to answer this question, this rhetorical question, right? He causes Uzair alayhi salam to fall asleep for 100 years. And as he falls asleep for 100 years, he wakes back up. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends the angel to breathe life back into his soul, and he wakes back up. And when he wakes back up, he looks around and he sees that his food is completely intact, right? The food that he just went out to get. And he's asked, how long were you asleep for? And he says, just a matter of minutes, maybe a matter of hours. And he looks to his side and he sees his donkey is nothing but bones. Right? Very similar to what we hear of the story of Ashab al-Kahf. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is showing us through a lot of these stories and these means. And so he realizes that he was not asleep for a couple of hours. And because of that, he sees that his donkey is completely in bones. He sees that his food is intact and he's in awe again, right? His question is answered, that how can Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give death to somebody and bring them back to life? And in front of his own eyes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends a wind to gather the bones of all of the donkey that's next to him to, start bringing him back to life. And he sends the angel to breathe life back into his soul and to also put flesh on his bones. And all of this he's witnessing in front of his own eyes. And so the story being that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is highlighting his ability to give life and death, the fact that he doesn't sleep, and then he shows us the story of a prophet that, most of us, even myself, did not know of until very recently, highlighting the fact that even the most saintly of people, he uses him as an example for his community to show him that he is also someone that he can put back to give death and bring back to life. With that, the rest of the juz is focused on a lot of other stories, particularly the rest of, there's the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam, and a very similar story of how he's told to train a flock of birds, cut them up, sacrifice them, and distribute them to people, and then call upon them, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala similarly shows him his ability to bring the birds back to life, and they come flying back to him. There's the story of Nimrud and Ibrahim alayhi salam, and then Surah Al-Imran is particularly in response to a tribe from Najran. So that was a community in south of Mecca that was Christian, and they came to the Prophet ﷺ in curiosity and asking, why don't you tell us what you know about Isa alayhi salam? Right? And this story was revealed to highlight the truth in the fact that Isa alayhi salam brought a message that was similar to the Prophet ﷺ, right? That was a continuation of the messages that came before it, and that he was not the son, right, of God, and it was an affirmation of the divinity of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so we won't go into that, but some stories to share from the reflections for this juz. We'll end there, inshallah. I think prior to closing with our dua, the kids were very curious for who had answered the questions right yesterday. So let me pull this up. Yeah, so there were several kids, right, who got the question right. I believe the first question was can't remember, but I think the first question that Dr. May had asked was, who was the Prophet and what was the dua that was made in the first juz that was remembered for generations, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserved to tell the Prophet of the dua that was made for him. And then the person who got that right was Muhammad Yusuf. And then for the second question, it was Yumna Ali Khan that had the most detailed and complete answers. There were other kids who got it right. So there was Buthaina, Majid, and then Aish and Aris, who also got it right. But the two that had it right most completely were Muhammad Yusuf and Yumna Ali Khan. So I'm not sure how the gift cards or the prizes will be distributed to the kids, just to keep them engaged. But they'll follow up with that, inshallah. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Allahumma anta salam wa minka salam. Tabarakta ya dhal jalali wal ikram. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammad wa barik wa sallim. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasana wa fil akhirati hasana wa qina adhab an-nar wa adkhilna al-jannata ma'al abrar. Ya Azizu ya Ghaffar. Rabbana لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين اللهم إنا نسألك العافية في الدنيا والآخرة اللهم إنا نسألك من خير ما سألك منه نبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم ونعوذ بك من شر ما استعاذك منه نبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم والله المستعان وعليك البلاغ ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله اللهم إنك عفو كريم تحب العفو فاعف عنا اللهم إنك عفو كريم تحب العفو فاعف عنا اللهم إنك عفو كريم تحب العفو فاعف عنا سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Jazakallah khair for everyone for joining. Inshallah, we'll see you tomorrow for the fourth juz. Assalamu alaikum.